everybody. This is Jeff Veale, the business guru, coming to you from downtown Manila in the Philippines. It's late in the afternoon. It's been very hot today, so it's starting to cool down, which is wonderful. I've got an awesome guest from my home country, back in Australia. We don't get many Australians, but I've got a great one today, and she's done a wealth of stuff. I'm having a look here. Her name is Gabrielle Pearson, and Gabrielle's claim to fame is she's a founder and CEO of Thryving by Gabrielle Pearson Coaching. And she's into personal development, transformational mindset, and performance coaching. So guys, reach out to this lady. Find out, you don't know what you don't know. Reach out. She may be able to help you. She could change your whole life for you. Years in the industry. She was launched in 2024. However, I've been coaching and mentoring across multiple industry sectors for more than 20 years. I run a professional mindset mastery and performance coaching business, utilizing the foundation pillars of mindset mastery, self-leadership, resilience, performance enhancement. I help executives, leaders, and professional people and athletes reboot their thinking, clear and reprogram self-diminishing beliefs, self-sabotaging patterns and behaviors so they can elevate their performance and have self-leadership skills, lead with confidence, clarity, ironclad resilience, and succeed and thrive in their personal and professional lives. There's more here, guys. If I read this bio, I'd be here for an hour. She's done so much, this lady. But what we better do is bring her up to the stage and find out what she's really done. So it's my great pleasure to welcome Gabrielle to our podcast. How are you, Gabrielle?
I'm great, Jeff. Wow, what an intro.
Yeah, I'm sipping my bottle of scotch, don't forget. Here we go. Tell us about your journey and what inspired you all those years ago to start out on your career path.
Right. Well, I guess my journey actually started in a little unconventional manner. I was originally an aspiring professional ballet dancer.
Awesome.
So that was, my foray into performing arts. In that world was very much about, the dedication, the performance excellence,
Sure.
striving for perfection, etc. And that led me at the ripe old age of 15 to leave home, go down to the Australian Ballet in Melbourne.
Wow.
And then over to Monte Carlo in my teenage years. And, it provided me with some fantastic skill set, which I've used throughout my corporate career. But it also taught me some essential life lessons. And the biggest one was, I guess, at 19, here I was primed and really focused on this is going to be the rest of my life, living my dream. And it came crashing down with repetitive stress injury. So, at 19, I had to... had my first identity crisis and had to basically reinvent myself, think about what direction and pathway I was going to take moving forward.
Yes.
And then that led me into a 30-plus year corporate career.
Fantastic. So you pivoted at an early age.
Pivoted at a very early age. And, then I had a highly successful corporate career, mainly in strategic and consultative sales leadership roles. And that, again, took me both many years in Australia, but also very many years internationally. And then from there, basically, throughout my corporate career, I went through various periods of adversity, a lot of challenges that kept resurfacing time and time again. And I reached a point where, although I was highly successful and, the outward persona was professional and polished and as you would expect, and hitting all the milestones, the goals, having teams that were really achieving great success. Under the surface, I kept sort of recognizing, and struggling with a lot of self-sabotaging patterns like procrastination, imposter syndrome, perfection paralysis.
Never the cheer squad. Where was your cheer squad?
Exactly. I hit the jackpot, and then it was it was really only later in life that then I started to, and when I started doing a lot of what I call deep inner work, but I started to realize that that a lot of these self-sabotaging patterns that were showing up in my personal and private life, they stem back to all those years in childhood conditioning in this perfection ideology as a dancer. So that then let me embark on a journey where I knew that if I wanted my life to change, I had to change myself and more importantly, my mindset. So I became really enthused. I developed an appetite for studying neuroscience. which led me on to then educating myself within neuro-linguistic programming, cognitive behavioral therapy, so I could then, basically become almost a geek out on mindset and how you can prime your mindset for performance and success. And then later on, I then started to discover somatic healing strategies and techniques, which you could use to overcome stress, anxiety, and reset the nervous system. So that then led me down the pathway, or inspired me to make the pivotal career shift to go into a professional coaching or consulting within the mindset and peak performance space.
Awesome. Tell me, how long ago did you change direction, basically, and go from corporate to more or less your own gig?
Oh, not that long ago. It's only been about an 18-month journey.
Fantastic.
So still, what I call navigating the adjustments and the challenges of transitioning from one to the other.
Yeah, fantastic. How's the journey been for you so far? Going good?
It's been great. It's been, as I said, I think probably the biggest challenge is when you're so used to being conditioned through corporate, and I think a lot of people can resonate with it. You're so used to being in a state of doing more, hustling, grinding, constantly
trying to climb the ladder. Yeah,
exactly. Working within really tight deadlines. That becomes an integral part of who you are and your persona and identity. And then when you shift into this alternative space, you have to almost unlearn and relearn, a whole different pace. You need to start slowing down. You need to start, moving away from what I call forcing and learning how to be and go with the flow and trust the process.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love that. I use that a lot. Trust the process. You might have a bad week this week and think, oh, is this really me? And just trust the process. Keep going,
Exactly. And that was really unfamiliar and very unnatural for me. So I guess that was sort of, it came with a sense of guilt and almost like you feel like you're being lazy, not doing enough. But that's been probably, I guess that the biggest challenge in the transition is learning to let that go and learning to embrace the new.
That's right. And pace yourself. What's been the most challenging aspect of your work, and how have you overcome that?
Well, that's exactly just what I just mentioned is exactly that. It's the transitioning from, highly structured strategic corporate into a space or an environment where you're having to, your clients are the ones that are dictating your directional pathway to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's your job to guide them back on the right track, right?
Exactly.
Tell us an important moment in your career that pretty much changed your direction. When was that aha moment?
I think, there wasn't a specific pivotal moment, but I think there's been a culmination that's been building up over years. And I think that's where I started to do some self-reflection and think, why does these challenges keep resurfacing all the time? What's underneath it? And that's exploratory process to try and understand why. And then layering on top of that, after a corporate redundancy, I'd always had a passion for, through my corporate career of coaching, mentoring, training, and developing people.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, there's a correlation here with my enthusiastic or insatiable appetite for everything mindset and how to improve and develop ourselves, and how I can then capitalize on that and launch it. So I used what could have been, a devastating experience as a springboard or a catalyst to then start, pursuing, I guess, what was my true passion and purpose.
Fantastic. I love the journey. In your opinion, what are the key qualities and skills that you believe have contributed to your success over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I call them my superpowers, and that is obviously resilience is the number one. I've had to reinvent myself, my identity, reset my life so many times.
Keep taking off the mask, like peeling the mask off, right?
Exactly. And it's being able to sort of weather all of those storms and having I've learned lessons from each of those.
Absolutely. We're still learning every day. Yep.
And then combine that with, with empathy, emotional intelligence, being able to intuitively read what's not being said. People put up masks, and it's like being able to sense what's going on under the surface. What else? Insatiable growth mindset, and a lifelong learner, and the self-leadership skills, which I developed very early, which have always helped me land on my feet and keep me motivated and directed.
Fantastic. A lawyer friend of mine a long time ago said to me, I love this one. He said to me, Jeff, you can always rely on people. True story. I was at the Summit, the revolving restaurant that's still there, and I was having lobster, and I was just washing it down with a nice Chardonnay. And when he said that to me, he said, you can always rely on people. And I was just about to swallow, and he said, to do the wrong thing. And true story, I spit it out all over the table. Like I almost choked. It was because it was so true. I could really relate to it because it's so true. So many people in life let us down, and then you've got to be able to bounce back, and that's where the resilience comes in, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. We spoke earlier. Be a better human. How do you stay motivated and continue to innovate as you do in your wonderful field?
I think, whenever it gets tough or you sort of can't see the wood for the tree, trees, as the saying goes, it's, for me, I keep coming back to, okay, why am I doing this? What's my why? What's my purpose? And for me, it's all about trying to help people to really discover who they truly are and what they're capable of in life. So, being able to help them through adversity, challenges, obstacles, and give them the tools, I guess, the framework and the roadmap, and that confidence that once they've done the deep discovery, the clearing and the rebuilding process, there is a pathway to help them, move forward, onwards and upwards, as I'd say.
Yeah, be like a river, guys. You've got to flow. Some days you're not going to feel it. Don't
Absolutely.
You don't push yourself. If you work for yourself, get up and go shopping. Go and have an ice cream. Go outside.
Go to the gym. Have a break and come back.
Have a half a day off. No one knows. You stop working for lunatics. Now you're working for an idiot. You're working for yourself, right? So just get out there and have fun with it, And then next day, put the extra hours in. You slacked off yesterday, so make up for it.
Exactly. It's the give and the take.
That's it. Just pace yourself, right? Tell us about a recent project or achievement you're particularly proud of, Gabrielle.
I think the most recent one is I was engaged as a keynote speaker for the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in April. So it was extra challenging because the venue, there was no what I call captive audience. So it was free flowing traffic all the time, and being able to deliver an engaging talk that would actually captivate the audience and make them sit on the seat from start to finish. So that was
fantastic. Where was that, by the way?
That was at the ICC in Sydney.
Right.
International. So it was my first foray into, I guess, public speaking on a larger scale. It pushed me so far out of my comfort zone.
Sure.
But, it's
once
been
you
one
get
of my
started, you're right. So the first 5 minutes is a bit of a worry.
Exactly.
Did you have one of those little wooden pedestals so people couldn't see you trembling, or what?
No. Once I got into it, went with the flow. It just, I became
that's the one. Yeah, some people are just naturals, The other day I was looking. I'm about to give a speech. Actually, I've been invited to do a large one myself, and I was practicing the other day, and I came across a thing that was very interesting. It said most people say, "Hi, my name's Jeff," and da 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 da. I said, "No, don't go that way." It says, "Start off like this. Let me tell you a story." I thought that was a bloody awesome intro.
Exactly, it's all about the story.
Yeah, let me tell you a story, and then they go, "Really?" and they all pay attention. And then away goes the story. So it's pretty cool. I learned that just recently. What advice would you give someone as a 20-year-old version who wanted to be in your footsteps and just starting out? What would you tell them?
Ooh, 20-year-old. I would say don't be afraid to make mistakes. There's still a lot of stigma around failure, but failure is essential to
learning.
Success.
That's right. Trees lose their leaves, don't they?
Exactly. And, you can let go of this. I guess this is probably more so relevant to people who are a little older.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to let go of old versions of you. You can pivot, you can venture out, try something new. We only get one life and we don't want to have regrets. So if you're constantly staying in your comfort zone, if you're not trying, pushing yourself out, trying new things, taking some risks, you're never really going to know what you're capable of. So I say go for it.
Yeah, I add to that and say, get a mentor like yourself. Reach out to someone like Gabrielle, and you can save 5 and 10 years off the journey, guys. Believe me,
exactly.
You have been there and done it. You haven't got there yet. You're at base camp. They're at the top of the mountain.
Those pearls of wisdom, yeah.
And unfortunately, life does not come with an instruction book. No,
it doesn't.
You got to wing it. And I've just learned in the last 5 years, I mean, I was pretty clever when I was younger, but I never used to trust my gut. I've been realizing later, I've had these lessons from other people, that your gut is your second brain. So if you get that gut feeling, listen to it. Right, same as your body. If you've got aches and pains, why? So I sleep wrong? Am I getting the flu? What's the reason? There's a reason for everything, guys. So listen to your body and listen to your gut. What advice would you give someone who wanted to aspire in your footsteps? We covered that, didn't we? Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for the future? Where are you heading?
Where am I heading? I would love to be able to, I guess, to impact a lot more people on a global scale. But I think in the immediate future, I'd love to be able to expand collaborations with corporate businesses and, be able to add or bring value to their, whether it's you call it your L&D programs, your personal development, or, sort of behavioral change, performance enhancement programs.
Sure.
I'd like to be able to also, connect with, I guess, elite sporting and performing arts institutions, and again, bring additional value to their peak performance programs.
Lovely.
I would love to do some local and international retreats, and maybe one day write a book about my own journey of
retreats are awesome. You'd be a great one for retreats. Tell me, who is your target audience? Is it particularly women? Is it mixed? What is your target audience in your mind?
Yeah, when I first started out, I predominantly only focused on coaching and mentoring women.
Yes.
But then I started to have men reach out, and it's regardless of what sex you are. Yes, there are significant differences.
Yes,
but a lot of the common denominators. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we've got intergenerational conditioning. We've got lived experiences which set they leave the scars, or they condition the way we think and behave, and also ultimately how we perform. So if we can, I'm pretty much male and female, open to both. And as I said, those that have a leadership role, whether it's small business, whether it's large corporates, but those that want to up level not only in the professional field, but also achieve a greater sense of satisfaction and fulfillment within their personal and professional lives.
Lovely. Tell our listeners and people watching this wonderful podcast, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you and have a one-on-one and have a chat?
Absolutely. Several ways. I think my name was actually Pearson, not Peterson, but so they can reach me directly on. Right. So I'll just correct that. They can reach me at Gabrielle Pearson Coaching at @gmail.com. Alternatively, they can zip over to my website at thriving.com.au/contact.
Lovely.
I've got two Facebook groups, Gabrielle Pearson Thriving or Gabrielle Pearson Official. Instagram, Gabrielle Pearson Coaching, and then, of course, on LinkedIn, just Gabrielle Pearson.
Fantastic.
I offer, a free complimentary, totally non-obligation free.
Guys, totally free. Most of you love free. That's why you don't get anywhere. You want everything for free. However, here's an opportunity, guys, to discover yourself, learn a bit about yourself, because this lady's a professional at what she does. I dare you. I put the challenge out to you. Give her a call. Find out. Going to take you 15 minutes or 30 minutes. Have a virtual cup of coffee. There it is there. Cup of coffee, glass of wine, water, depends on the time of the day. And she's an awesome lady and very easy to talk to, as you can see. So reach out and have a chat to her. Before we wrap it up, Gabrielle, tell us a fun fact about yourself that most people don't know.
Fun fact about myself, I think this will surprise a lot of people. Apart from being the dancer and the corporate, I'm also a black belt in Taekwondo.
Yeah, that worries me.
I have also trained Kendo and 𝐌𝐢𝐬𝐴, which is the art of the Japanese sword.
Wow.
So, and I speak 4 languages.
Wow, my goodness. You're an extremely talented lady, my friend. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show. So, guys, if you want your 15 minutes of fame, just like Gabrielle has, please reach out and find out, because, look, a TV commercial is going to set you back $30,000, and why that's on, they might go and make a burger or have a beer or go to the toilet, right? 10 radio spots in your city are going to set you back anything from $3,000 to $5,000, and they may play them at 2 o'clock in the morning. They invariably do. But if you reach out and get 15 minutes of fame, we'll put you across all the social media platforms, Reddit, Quora, LinkedIn, Facebook groups, and particularly YouTube, with all your social media links. Potentially put you in front of thousands of people, just like Gabrielle and myself. So, guys, you've been an awesome audience, Gabriella. Nice talking to you. Have a
It's been a
wonderful
pleasure,
day.
Jeff. Thank you.